Streets are becoming safer despite an increase in the number of shootings. The latest NYPD crime stat numbers show overall crime is down 4%, but the number of gun arrests are up from last year. Joining us to talk more about this and shed light on these numbers is the police commissioner himself, James O'Neill. So good morning to you, my friend. Thank you for coming in, as always.
Good morning, Dan. Thanks for having me.
So overall, crime has dropped, and that's the good news here in New York City. But the shooting numbers are a bit disturbing. Guns on the street, obviously a problem. Just the other day, our cameras caught gunfire between a suspect and the NYPD. I want to play that for you. You know, it's alarming to hear, and shootings doubled this past week alone from 12 to 23 compared to this time last year. 540 shootings this year alone. So how are you really tackling this issue of guns on the street?
So the clip you played was an officer-involved shooting in Brownsville. That happened on Monday morning. And it started with 3 cops in a car driving down the street to see a guy with a mask. They try to approach him. One cop gets out of the car, and this guy turns and fires on us and actually ends up hitting the car. And about a half an hour later, we get a 911 call from a woman saying that someone's trying to break into the house. And that's what you saw there. So that just shows you how engaged the men and women of the NYPD are in keeping the city safe. So we're up, as of this morning, we're up 35 shootings. But if you look at that shooting rate compared to many other places around the country, we're still in good shape here. We do have some issues and challenges in some very specific neighborhoods around the city. We had issues in Manhattan North. A couple of months ago, we had issues in Brooklyn North in the 7-9, which is Bed-Stuy in the 7-7, a couple of months too. And we shifted resources. We shifted patrol resources, investigative resources, and made sure that there was community outreach to make sure that, because we have to all do this together. It can't just be the NYPD. This is an issue where everybody's got to come together and push violence down.
But are shootings up because there are too many guns on the street? When you say shifting resources, is it to get those guns off the street, or is this a gang problem?
Well, it's half the shootings are gang and crew related, and it is a gun issue. And we have to make sure that we have, in the month of August, we have 60 more gun arrests than we had last year in 2018 during the month of August. But as we make those arrests, we have to make sure that everybody involved in the criminal justice system plays their part. We have to make sure that there are consequences, that if you carry a gun, there's a consequence for that. If our men and women in the NYPD are putting themselves at risk to make gun arrests, we have to make sure that there's follow-through and there's a consequence for carrying a gun.
You know, another disturbing trend that we looked at with the numbers were a drop in the number of arrests and summonses being issued on the streets. Let's throw those numbers up on the screen right here for everybody to see, which really correlate with the time that Officer Daniel Pantaleo was fired for the death of Eric Garner. We're talking about the week of August 19th to the 25th. Is this a coincidence that those numbers are down, or was there some kind of slowdown from the NYPD?
So this is what we take a look at, and this is what we do, not during this time period. This is what we've been doing since 1994. We take a look at arrest activity. We take a look at summons activity. We look at crime every day. We don't wait a week. We don't wait 2 weeks. We don't wait a month to see what has transpired. We are down slightly down in felony arrest. More so in misdemeanor arrests. We're down in moving violations and some criminal court summonses. So it's incumbent upon the borough commanders and the precinct and district and PSA commanders to make sure that they're paying attention to this. The big thing here is that crime is down overall. We're down about 2,300 crimes year to date, and that's a trend that's been going down since 1994.
And that is important, but do you think that the change in those numbers of arrests and summonses and traffic stops are because of what PBA President Pat Lynch said, which was to call your sergeant, call emergency services before you engage in any type of activity?
Yeah, listen, Dan, the men and women of the NYPD, this is what they get paid to do. They know that this is what they get paid to do. And it's not all about summonses, it's not all about arrest since we moved to neighborhood policing. We evaluate each and every one of our police officers, and it's not just about that. But it's an important part of what we do. And we look at precinct by precinct. Are the arrest numbers, are the summons numbers is down, and why? And we look at the categories. So it's vehicle-related arrest, marijuana-related arrest. Those are down. Most importantly, we are still addressing a very small percentage of the population in New York City that are involved in violence and crime, and that's what counts.
And the PBA president says he has the backing of his members to calling for your resignation. Do you have a response to that?
Listen, I've been around a long time. This is a great job. The men and women do a terrific job. We have a lot more work to do. So Pat thinks what he's doing what he needs to do for the membership. I strongly disagree with him. we have to make sure that we continue to keep pressure on the people that are involved in violence and crime.
And there's a very serious issue here in terms of officer suicides. We saw 10 suicides within the NYPD this year alone. It's a tough issue to tackle. Why do you think there's such an uptick this year?
So we've had 8 on-duty people that are still active suicides. I know there was a retired officer that killed himself the other day out in Staten Island. We have a number of services both internally and externally. I don't think that's the issue. The issue is that the stigma that's attached to coming forward. And it's 2019. We take care of everybody else in this city. We have to make sure that we take care of ourselves.
Is there a stigma that if you go and get help, though, that you'll be put on desk duty, you won't be able to do your job fully?
This is the message that we have to get out. And we just went through executive training. We have peer-to-peer councils. They'll be operational in the week of September 23rd. There are a number of different avenues that you can pursue. We have a major medical center that we're working with. And you can either call them, FaceTime them, or get an appointment within 24 hours. It's anonymous, and it's at no cost. We have to overcome the stigma of coming forward and getting help.
Absolutely.
People in crisis find it difficult, so it's incumbent upon partners, friends, family members to make sure that people get the help that they need.
And we have those resources always listed on our website, pix11.com. Briefly, I just want to talk about Mayor de Blasio, your boss. He has hinted yesterday that he would like to possibly drop out of the race for president if he doesn't rise in the polls. There's been talks about his time in City Hall, spending 7 hours. Do you think he has been an absentee mayor? Have you been in constant communication with him while he's been on the campaign trail?
So as issues arise, if he needs to get a hold of me, we talk, we see each other in person, and if I need him, I'll reach out to him, and it hasn't been an issue for the police department.
You think he should drop out?
That's up to him. That's his choice.
Okay.